So I saw an ad for South Carolina, like the tourism of South Carolina last night. I was watching The Masked Singer, and great show, by the way. If you guys haven't watched it, it's pretty good.
You haven't been on it yet?
So what?
You haven't been on The Masked Singer yet?
No, I haven't. I wanted to be the white tiger, and Gronk took it from me. So I guess I don't know. And so there was a tourism commercial for South Carolina, basically saying we're open for business, something like that. And my guess is Virginia Beach is doing something similar. Norfolk, I'm sure, is doing something open. Like we're open for business and things like that. And so, as a business owner that welcomes those people to come, is it frustrating? Is it positive? Like, what are your feelings when you see an ad like that, but then understand that you have to go through so many runarounds to even be open? It's like, can't you take that money that you're spending on that ad spend and put it towards these businesses or anything like that? Or are you just like, it is what it is? Is there any thoughts on kind of the marketing towards an area that can it even really be open in the way that they want it to be?
Yeah, I know tourism in our area has had to pivot a lot with all this too. I know they actually had a campaign called We're Open, which was planned for 2020 before any of this hit. It was just ironic timing. And so you see these We're Open signs on a lot of the businesses down at the oceanfront. That was part of a campaign that was already planned for this year, just took on a different meaning. But a lot of the business that they market, I mean, they spend a lot of money marketing into Canada and Europe and other things. We get people internationally that come to visit Virginia Beach, not just for the tattoo, Virginia International Tattoo, things like that. We get year round. We get people internationally. There's a marketing budget that goes out to those areas. That's all been on hold because all those things, have canceled. A lot of the group activities and tour buses and travels and things like that all have canceled. They have redirected some of that funds. They did a surf study in sand. I think I've got the order of that wrong, but they did a campaign on that recently, sort of regionally, trying to attract people down to, hey, the oceanfront is open. There's fun things to do, and attract some people down there. We saw, a few things off of that. Not a great response, but I appreciate that they were trying to, shift in terms of how they're supporting and how they're marketing some things. So, got a lot of good people trying to do a lot of good things, but the headwinds are really strong this year.
Yeah, and that's the thing that's, at least from Zack and I's point of view, that's really tough. So like Zack said, this is episode close to number 40, give or take. And the whole premise of this show is to give businesses the tools and tips that they need in order to succeed and hit that $1 million annual revenue mark. But week after week after week, we have these, we talk to people, and you're right. I mean, it's a headwind just to survive as a business. But then we have something like this, and you don't qualify for PPP because you haven't been around for 3 years. You want to do everything you can in order to generate that revenue, but you can't do that either. And it's just like, this is where we need the decision makers and the policy makers to listen. We know that they're busy, but it's at the same time, it's like, look, you're really tying our hands here. You have to give us some sort of option in order to succeed in business. And it's tough for us week after week to hear that. And you're another one that's facing the same challenge. So that said, what do you have any comment to that?
I think we keep trying to just dig deeper into our mission. Our purpose as a nonprofit organization has been to serve and connect families. Even though we haven't had the attendance we've hoped for, even though we've had to shift things. Like, for instance, right now we had to get our big show launched. We had a number of shows of it. We've had some actors have to shift into some other projects that they're being pulled into. And so we downscaled that in December back to something called FFXmas. And said, we've got just a fun and game show come out. We've got a smaller, safe environment. I dressed up as Santa Claus and walked out along the people in line for all the light show out there, handing out, coupons and things like that, and saying, hey, come on down and, have a free popcorn and enjoy the fun and games. And we've had people come in and enjoy just that. We've found that ironically, from leaning into saying, okay, here's what's the core of what we're trying to be about, and let's see, the most of that we can offer and reach people with. We found we've reached people that we didn't expect to. So we had people come to the show that's really designed for families and connect families that were young adults and singles, and they're like, "This is so great! We want to come back and see it again. We want to bring some friends." It's like, we weren't marketing to you guys, but I'm glad you enjoyed the show and had fun with it. And we've had retired people come to show. We had a young couple come in and take one of the VIP couches the other night and just had fun in games, and they had a blast doing it. We actually had a couple things when we first were able to start ramping up this summer. We had a magician in the area called Nomo that he came in and did a magic show on Friday nights, and we did some other game labs and some other shows as we were getting bigger things ramped up and trying to navigate all those waters and those headwinds. We had actually 3 young people that came downstairs. They had a clown down there, and he was making balloons for kids on the street and taking donations, and everybody had their masks on and stuff. And these 2 young Navy guys and this young girl were talking. She'd never been to a magic show, had moved down here and never been to a magic show in her life. They came up to the magic show, loved it so much they wanted to come back to the late show. They came back to the magic show again, got to know us a little bit, got to know the magician, found out that 2 of them were engaged. They were trying to figure out how to navigate a wedding, and the magician helped them put together, because he does some other event planning stuff, helped them put together a wedding on just a shoestring budget. And we're like, well, we want to make this space available for rentals. We haven't been able to do that just yet. And so we hosted them for the wedding reception there, had a beautiful wedding reception, and made an impact there as well on the beginning of a new family. So we've had a lot of little things like that say, yeah, we're making a difference in some families' lives, even if it's not on the scale that we'd hoped for and not on the scale that we'd budgeted for. But we're going to keep trusting in that process and stick around. We want to be part of this. Yeah.
You may know him as Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I know him as just a man who has done incredible things for the last few decades. But how can you use his techniques in your business? I'll show you exactly how. Head on over to ZackMillerSays.com/The Rock, and you can smell what he's cooking.
That's awesome.
So, thank you.